Hello and welcome to The Takeaway with Tyra. Thank you for joining me today. Now, so that you don't miss out on any of my updates, please be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I also like hearing from you, so go ahead and like and comment. My guests are always exciting and have great things to share with us. What I do on this show is I have one guest and I ask them one question. Then they get the floor for about 10, maybe 15 minutes. So here we go. Hello, and thank you for joining me today on The Takeaway. I am Tyra, and I'm so glad you could join us. And as you see, I have my guest here, David Cox. David, welcome today.
Well, thank you, Tyra. I'm glad to be here, and we're on opposite ends of the country, and we've been experiencing thunderstorms here. I hope you're not having bad weather out in British Columbia.
No, we're not. We're actually getting a heat wave. So, yeah, it's a little different. But what can you do? We can complain about the weather, but we can't do anything about it.
We can't change it. We can't change it.
So, David, as you know, I always ask my guest one question. And I really liked something you had mentioned to me earlier when we had been talking. And you said, oh, I could be a poster child for ONPASSIVE. So my question to you is, what would make you say that? And like, why do you think you could make a good ONPASSIVE poster child? So take it away, David. You've got the floor.
Well, Tyra, passive is unique. We know that. And yes, I could be a poster child for passive in several different ways.
Okay.
One, as a business owner, small business owner. Another way is as a network marketer. I could be a poster child for a network marketer. I could also be a poster child for passive as a retiree that maybe didn't plan as effectively as they should have. And I could be a poster child for passive just for the fact that I always like to help others. Well, let me explain to you what I really mean.
Okay.
As a business owner, a small business owner, we all have to purchase so many products to stay competitive. They all have their own usernames and passwords. They're all expensive. And whether it's just domain names and hosting or email or video conferencing or tracking IP addresses, it costs a lot of money. And since they don't talk to each other, sometimes they don't talk very well on their own either. So not all those products work as effectively as maybe we had hoped when we purchased them. But we have to keep spending money to be competitive with our competition. I think that's one of the things that's so unique about ONPASSIVE. Ash Mafara, our CEO, the idea of one umbrella, all the tools you need in one place with that single sign-on, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. So from a small business standpoint, not only does it make sense, but it'll save the business owner so much time and so much money.
True.
So I could easily see myself as a poster child for ONPASSIVE from a small business owner standpoint.
Right.
But there's still more. I've been a network marketer for a long time. And Ash always talks about the 97%, the one that never really made it all the way, but kept trying. Well, that's me. I'm one of them. And I could easily be a poster child for ONPASSIVE as a network marketer. I tell you, I'm just like a lot of people I know. I chased lots of shiny objects. I jumped program to program, and sometimes it worked, and sometimes it didn't. And we always say, well, we never failed. You either earn or you learn.
Right. Yes.
Learned a lot. And each time you try to apply that scenario to a better situation, and you hope that you've learned something that you can take into the next application or the next program. But the real problem with network marketing, in my opinion, is not so much the company. And yes, sometimes they changed the comp plan. Sometimes they took away the product that you had that you were selling that you were successful with. And yes, those are company issued problems that do exist. But the real fallacy in network marketing success is the fact that you can't duplicate your own efforts. You recruit and they quit. You recruit and they quit. And maybe you get somebody that's really excited and really motivated. Well, remember in network marketing, you've got that monthly auto ship, that wonderful term called auto ship. And when they're not making any money at the end of the month, and they have to decide, do I make my rent payment? Do I make my car payment? Or do I pay my auto ship? I
Right.
don't know too many women that are significant others or wives that will put up with that for too many months where the boyfriend didn't make the car payment again. No, they end up quitting.
Yeah.
So you're always looking for people that you can bring in that can duplicate your efforts, but it just doesn't work.
Right.
So I think the other reason that network marketing has its fallacies is those people you bring in, they may be motivated, but they forget that they have to do work.
Right.
And I really think it's all going to be done for them. So bing, bing, bing. On Passive's idea of a totally automated scenario, I think that attracts people. It will attract people from the network marketing side once they realize that it is real. And I think even as myself as a network marketer, we were always searching for that opportunity too. We didn't want to admit we wanted a totally automated system. Our recruits did. And I think we've been searching for that same opportunity. So maybe we've been looking for OnPassive all these years and now we found it. So I could be the poster child from a marketing standpoint. But I
Right.
think I'm one of those retirees that did not plan effectively.
Mm.
OnPassive gives you hope. You know, I spent 17 years in the hotel industry with two major hotel chains. One of them brought me here to Florida back in the 80s. That's how I came to Florida originally. Um, but there's no pension involved there. I didn't work long enough. So when my kids were old enough to play baseball, I coached my kids in baseball. Found out real fast that in Little League, nobody wants to be the umpire. So I ended up having to umpire my own kids' games. Well, that left my assistant manager to run the team, and I was now the umpire. Well, that happened a lot. And as much as I knew it needed to be done, there's something about calling your own son out sliding into home
Ah.
when you know he's out. But every time you go to the grocery store, you have to listen to your parents of your friends give you grief. Even worse if you called their son out. But I realized early on in the umpiring world that there weren't enough umpires. And I decided that when my kids stopped playing ball, I would do that. And I did. I became an umpire many, many years ago. And if you want to go up the ladder, you train and you go to clinics and you get invited to other opportunities. So it goes from little league to rec ball to travel ball. And if you get a little bit better, somebody invites you to go to a clinic where you can learn the rules necessary to do high school ball. And I did that. And I did high school baseball and softball for a number of years. And if you get better, then they invite you to do college. And I was blessed that I was invited to do college softball. And I did it for a dozen years. And I'll tell you, um, we just finished the College World Series, Women's College World Series here a week ago. And I'm blessed because for a dozen years, I did every major Division I college in America. Every year, they would all come to Florida for spring training during the winter. And in Clearwater, just hour and a half away, I had the luxury, the benefit, and I really do feel blessed that I got to do those games at that caliber for a number of years.
Right.
But again, I didn't have a pension. I worked on the ball field because I needed to. Yes, I loved it, but I probably did it for longer than I wanted to because I needed the money.
Right.
So, from a retiree that didn't plan effectively, I could be that poster child too. Um, in addition, I mentioned to you before that I also could be a poster child for ONPASSIVE simply because I like to give back.
Ah,
You know, in when we talk money in ONPASSIVE, we use the term apples. And everybody has expenses, everybody has bills to pay.
mhm.
And whether you're a young family just starting out or whether you're that retiree that didn't plan effectively, a lot of times there's more month at the end of the apples than apples at the end of the month.
I hear you.
So, working in the ball field was great, um, but I always wanted to give back. But when you don't have extra apples, the only thing you can do is give your time.
Right.
So many, many years ago, a friend of mine was injured in Afghanistan. One of the soldiers died in his arms. And when he came back, he was injured too, but he came home. When he came home, he said, David, we have to do something to remember them. And I said, you're right. And so he started a nonprofit organization and we built memorials for fallen soldiers.
Ah,
Very rewarding, very proud of that. And we did it for a number of years. Um, I also helped a nonprofit create care packages on a monthly basis for deployed military around the world. So if they were gone for 12 months or 18 months, every month they got a box in the mail. And the thank you notes and the cards and letters that would come back just would blow you away.
yeah.
And I also helped a friend who had a nonprofit and a little bit more involved. When someone was in a wheelchair, we would build a ramp outside their door, or we would widen the doorways so they could get that chair into the bathroom, or we would lower countertops in the kitchen so that they could bring the chair up and cook their own meals and still be self-sustaining.
Yes.
I did those things because I wanted to give back, but I didn't have the apples to do it. So I used my time.
Yeah.
I often think that, sure, I could be the poster child for ONPASSIVE for wanting to give back. But it's really bigger than that, Tyra.
Okay.
I think ONPASSIVE is more than any of us really realize. Most of us came to ONPASSIVE for the money.
Yes.
We were drawn for the idea of a self-sustaining residual income that would gradually build and grow and create, as we say, generational wealth. That's the intriguing part that brought us to ONPASSIVE. Yes, the idea of an umbrella with all of the package plans where the products were there, very unique.
Hmm.
But I think it's bigger than that. I think there'll be books written on ONPASSIVE. I think what Ash has done is so unique. There'll be books written about the business plan that he created. But I
Right.
also think that there'll be books written about ONPASSIVE about the way people gave. Because yes, we may have all been drawn to ONPASSIVE for the idea of generating income, but the more you learn about ONPASSIVE, a light bulb goes off at some point in time with everyone. And you wake up one day realizing, or you don't wake up because you can't sleep, you're up all night long, you realize that there's more to ONPASSIVE than just the potential of making money. It's that idea that there will now be more apples at the end of the month, and you can do more with those apples than you need for your expenses, and you can help others. When I was involved in the nonprofit side, it is, as I said, very rewarding.
Hmm.
But imagine if I had the cash flow to be able to contribute versus just my time.
Right. Yeah.
So I could say that I could be the poster child for ONPASSIVE in giving. But what I've learned is everyone's talking about what they want to do with the extra apples.
Yeah. Yeah.
So could I be a poster child for ONPASSIVE on giving back? Possibly. But you know something, Tyra? I'm not a poster child for ONPASSIVE. You're not a poster child for ONPASSIVE. We're all poster child for ONPASSIVE because ONPASSIVE is bigger.
Yes.
It's so big that every time we try to wrap our arms around how big it is, it convinces us that it's 100 times more. And that is just so cool.
Yeah.
And Passive is going to not only set records, we've already determined we're going to be a unicorn company the day we launch. That's never happened in the history of business. We're going to set so many records, it's just going to be fun to watch. But I really think we're all poster children because ONPASSIVE can reach so many people. Sure, as a network marketer, as a small business owner, as a retiree that didn't plan effectively, who just has the desire to give back, yeah, those are great ideals as a poster child. But honestly, ONPASSIVE is much bigger than me. ONPASSIVE is huge. We can't even imagine how large it is. And that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
Makes it fun to think about it. And
You've
I'm
said
sorry.
that so well. Like you really, I love, on the takeaway, I always kind of bring it into, okay, what are we taking away from what this person said? And I love how you broke it down. But then you also brought it back round, and it's like, yeah, you could be a poster child for this, or this. I could be. But I love when you brought it back into full circle that we all are. When you see a picture of thousands, we're at over 700,000 people right now. You could see a picture of that. Those are the poster children of ONPASSIVE.
And they're every color of the rainbow, they're every age, they're every economic factor, your normal business opportunity. It's not. It's not an investment. Now, it is an opportunity to change your life and people around you, but it's not like anything anyone has ever seen. And I think that's why a lot of people resist it.
That's right. That's awesome, David. I'm just going to wrap up, but man, you've given us so much to take away, so much to think about. And if you have never joined me before, I want to let you know that if you visit our company website called onpassive.com, you're going to get a lot of information there about our locations, who we are, all the products and their details. And go over there when we're done here and have a look because it is so worth it. So wrapping up, David, I want to say thank you very much. This was so enlightening. And I love that we get to all be poster children. Way to go, David, on that one. So thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Have a super day.